The Japanese believed their tanks were invincible. To the men who rode the Type 95 Heigo, it was not merely a weapon, it was a living symbol of Japan's military genius. Agile, efficient, and unrelenting. It had triumphed in China, survived Soviet encounters at Khalkin Gol, and thundered across Malaya and the Philippines with lightning speed. Soldiers saw it as proof that Japanese engineering and spirit could overcome any obstacle. The jungle was their kingdom and the Heigo their steel crown. But war has a cruel way of humbling certainty. What began as confidence would soon turn to revelation. Written in diesel smoke and the roar of machine guns, the Heigo's legend, like many before it, had roots in ambition and optimism but would end in shattered steel. In the years leading up to World War II, Japanese military propaganda hailed the tank as unstoppable. Recruits were told, "A man inside steel cannot be defeated." Mechanics polished its armor as if blessing a shrine. Its diesel hum echoed across training grounds, a metallic heartbeat of the empire. Yet few questioned how thin its armor truly was, a flaw hidden beneath layers of pride. As Japan's empire expanded, so too did its faith in machines that had never faced the full fury of modern firepower. The Type 95 was small, fast, and deadly against the unprepared, but its triumphs planted a dangerous illusion that spirit alone could conquer steel. The myth of invincibility was about to meet the harsh mathematics of war. The Heigo's story began not on the battlefield, but in the optimism of 1933. Japan envisioned a modern army capable of swift, mechanized warfare, yet its armored forces lagged far behind the West. The Type 89 medium tank, their pride of the time, crawled across the field at barely 15 miles per hour, a relic of a slower, trench-bound era. Commanders demanded something new, a light, fast tank that could keep pace with motorized infantry and thrive in Asia's harsh terrain. The Imperial Army turned to Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Leading the effort was engineer Tomio Hara, a quiet, methodical genius who believed in simplicity through efficiency. "We don't need the heaviest tank," he once told his team. "Only the smartest." His solution was revolutionary. A bell crank suspension that gave remarkable stability over rough terrain. By 1934, the first prototype rolled from the factory floor. It was small, nimble, and astonishingly quick to 45 kilometers per hour on roads, 30 across open ground. Military observers watched in awe as it maneuvered like a dancer, turning sharply through sand and mud. Its air-cooled diesel engine provided reliability few Western tanks could match. But beneath the innovation lurked its fatal flaw. The armor, only 12 millimeters at its thickest, could stop rifle fire, nothing more. Tomio Hara knew it. In his notes, he scribbled a warning: "Speed is our defense." The army ignored it. The prototype was approved, and in 1936, production began. The Type 95, named for the imperial year 2595, was hailed as the tank of Japan's future, fast, light, and full of promise. By 1937, the Type 95 Heigo spread across Asia, barely 7 feet tall and weighing just over 7 tons. It looked unimposing beside Western armor, yet it became a symbol of modern Japan. Crews of 3 worked in tight, suffocating compartments. The driver crouched forward, the gunner beside him, and the commander doing everything else: aiming, firing, commanding, and sometimes manning the radio. Sweat and diesel fumes filled every breath. In China, it dominated. Its 37mm gun tore through sandbag defenses, its twin machine guns mowing down infantry. Against poorly armed Chinese troops, it was unstoppable. Tank commanders, young and proud, believed themselves invulnerable. One captain wrote home, "The Heigo is faster than fear itself." But in 1939, at Khalkin Gol, the borderlands of Mongolia, that belief shattered. The Japanese tanks met Soviet BT series machines, faster, thicker armored, and armed with devastating 45mm guns. On the open steppe, the Heigo's thin armor became its death sentence. Soviet shells punched through them like paper. Fires raged across the plains. Crews burned inside their machines, unable to escape the confined hatches. The battle ended in defeat and disbelief. Some officers suggested upgrading the armor, but command dismissed it. Khalkin Gol is an anomaly, they said. Instead of learning, Japan doubled down on faith. 2 years later, when their forces swept through Southeast Asia, the Heigo's reputation rose again, reborn through victory, not wisdom. But the cracks remained. War would test them again, this time on a scale far greater than anyone imagined. In 1941, as Japan's empire surged across the Pacific, the Type 95 Heigo became its mechanical spearhead. In Malaya, the tanks rolled down narrow jungle paths the British thought impassable. Palm trees split under their tracks. Villagers fled as their diesel engines echoed like thunder through the tropics. In the Philippines, they shattered unprepared defenses, chasing retreating soldiers through burning villages. Japanese war correspondents filmed them proudly, calling the Heigo the dragon of the jungle to the crews. The tank was invincible once more. No terrain can stop us, one lieutenant declared as his tank crossed a river on floating logs. And for a time, he was right. Even in early clashes with American M3 Stuart light tanks, the Heigo held its own. Fast and maneuverable, it struck from concealment, retreating before heavier weapons could reply. Victories came quickly, and each one reinforced the myth that Japan's light armor needed no improvement. Yet beneath the victories lay denial. Reports from the Soviet front describing catastrophic losses were ignored. Engineers requested thicker armor, but Tokyo's industry lacked the resources. Japan's steel went to ships and aircraft, not tanks. The Heigo remained what it had always been, a light weapon built for outdated wars. As 1944 dawned, whispers spread among Japanese tankers. The Americans were coming stronger, faster, armed with weapons unlike anything they'd faced. On the island of Saipan, the Heigo's final test awaited. Its crews cleaned their guns and painted the rising sun across their hulls. "If we die," one said quietly, "let our tanks burn bright enough for Tokyo to see." In the cold morning light, the Marines studied the wrecks. Each Heigo was riddled with neat bullet holes, proof that courage alone could not defy physics. You could trace the path of the bullet straight through one side, across the cramped interiors and out the other. That morning changed everything. From then on, the Americans knew a .50 caliber could stop a Japanese tank. Fear turned to confidence. For Japan, it was revelation turned tragedy. Their proud machines were obsolete, their armor useless. While Japan had built just over 2,000 Heigos during the war, America produced hundreds of Shermans each month. Detroit's factories roared day and night, men and women forging steel giants in an industrial symphony Japan could never match. By 1945, nearly 50,000 Shermans rolled from assembly lines, while Japan's tanks were buried in sand, hidden in caves, or welded into immobile bunkers. On Iwo Jima, Colonel Nishi's tanks lay buried up to their turrets, silent tombs in volcanic ash. On Okinawa, a final desperate charge of 27 Japanese tanks met 800 American Shermans. The result was swift and brutal. By war's end, the Type 95 Heigo was a ghost, a monument to ambition without adaptation. Once a symbol of Japan's rise, it became a relic of its fall. The Battle of Saipan wasn't just the death of a tank. It was the death of an idea that bravery could replace strength, that spirit could overcome steel. In the silence that followed, amid the smoking wrecks and molten armor, one truth remained: bravery without power is sacrifice.